did you go to today?
The keynote had like a dive deep. Really good.
Call the meeting to order. It is November 17th at 5:30 and the Southeast Polk Board of Education. Karen?
Lori,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom, Brett,
Here.
Whitney,
Okay. Any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
All right, any motion to adopt the agenda?
Move to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Okay, Karen?
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes. All right, moving on, Mr. Handy, would you like to read the district vision and mission?
Yes, Southeast Polk Community School District will learn, lead, live, successful college, career, and civic life. Engage all students in learning a challenging curriculum delivered through quality instruction.
Very good. We'll stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, we will go to public comments. And before I introduce public comments, I will read the open forum guidelines. The board recognizes the value of public observation and hearing from individuals on school district matters. It is also important that the board be able to conduct its meetings in an orderly and efficient manner, free from outside interference. Citizens wishing to address the board will need to complete a public comments card prior to the meeting and give it to the superintendent. The public comments cards are located on the table at the entrance of the meeting. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes for an individual and 5 minutes for an individual representing a group. However, these time limits may be modified if the pressure of business or other circumstances dictate. The board president will recognize individuals to make their comments at the appropriate time. During public comment, when addressing the board, state your name and group name if applicable. Address city and agenda item to be addressed. During public comment, the role of the board is to listen. Therefore, board members will only receive comments and will not respond to questions or otherwise engage in discussion with speakers. Speakers who make comments are responsible for their own statements and may be subject to legal action for those which are threatening or defamatory in nature. It is expected that speakers will address the board and each other with civility. Aside from recognized speakers during public comment, the role of the public is limited to observing the proceedings of the board. Public observation does not include participation. The board has a significant interest in maintaining the decorum of its meetings. Any individual who does not abide by these rules or otherwise disrupts the meeting may be asked to leave and or referred to law enforcement. So the time is 5:33. I will now open the public hearing to receive.
Public comments.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I am on a whole different. Okay, public comments. Board Secretary, do we have any public comments which you have received? Okay, we have one that has been entered. Mr. Mike McManus, you are free to come to the podium and make your public comments.
Before I get started, Nate Ballard made to put a good word in for him, but I think he can stand on his own. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I thank you for your service. I understand you don't even get paid, so thank you. Did you all get a letter, a copy of the letter I sent you in regards to correspondence I had with Jason Campbell?
Yes.
Okay. there's some things I don't agree with his letter. He says in the first paragraph that this bill for $22,000 has been sent to Ankeny High School, and they've since turned it into their insurance company. I think it's the responsibility of the people that did the damage, not the school district or the insurance company. Being in business, the last person you want to get involved is an insurance company. You'll pay for it the rest of your career. He said it's administrative discretion. I know I can't ask you a question, but I don't know whose discretion is it. And he also said in the second paragraph that these kids are on a team who are learning the lessons that sports are intended to teach. And I don't think tearing up equipment or locker rooms is a good place to start. And then he also said that we'd appreciate the ability if to work with the students if it was reversed. Well, it's been reversed. I can tell you 50 years ago, a wrestling team from Southeast Polk went to Winterset and wrestled, and two of the wrestlers tore up the locker room. And they paid for it out of their own pocket. The school didn't. Again, I know I'm not supposed to ask a question, but have we received an apology from anyone? And if we have, who? And is it written? And I could assure you that these kids that did tear up the locker room, they're still laughing about it. You know, we beat them in the game and we tore up their locker room. And one other thing, how do you get put on the agenda? Is there any way to get put on the agenda so I can speak and get your response to any of my questions? And again, thank you very much for the chance. Don't forget about me.
Thank you.
Very good. Moving on to the consent agenda. I need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing no discussion. Karen?
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
All right, moving on to old and new business. Item A, confirmation of next meeting. The next meeting is December 8th. Need a motion?
Motion to approve the next meeting for December 8th.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that meeting date? Karen?
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
All right, moving on to item B, the 2023-24 academic calendar public hearing. Now is where I'm going to read the statement previous. I'm going to call this public hearing to order at 5:38 in regards to the 2023-2024 academic calendar. We'll now open the public hearing to receive comments on the academic calendar public hearing for 2023-2024. Board Secretary, have you received any written comments?
I have not.
All right. Is there anyone present wishing to provide comment? Seeing none. We are going to close the public hearing now at 5:39. All right. Moving on to item C, 2023-2024 academic calendar. I need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion regarding the 23-24 calendar? Okay, Karen?
Brett,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Thank you to the committee.
Yes, definitely. Item D, early retirement. I need a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Oh,
There is a small typo. I don't know how I got through there, but the date should be 2023, not January 2022.
on the calendar?
For the,
Retirement.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
it's in the recommendation.
okay. All right, did I receive a motion?
Yeah, let me, if somebody wants to do it. I guess I didn't look at that date, but are you talking on the actual draft, Dr. Lutnick, or?
Yeah, we're on the recommendation.
Oh, gotcha. Well, mine says 23, 24.
You want me to read it?
Karen may have fixed it in the online one, so it may have
Oh, okay.
updated for you.
All right, yeah. Yeah, yes, I'll, motion to approve administration's recommendation for the Board of Education to approve. Well, that's because I'm on the school calendar, never mind. That might be one of the years, right? But anyway, yeah, well, anyway, 2023, January 3rd, 2023. Motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion in regards to early retirement? Seeing none. Karen?
Whitney,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Very good. Okay, we're moving on to item E, which is the first read of various policies. I need a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Very good. Any discussion? All right. Karen?
Lori,
Yes?
Rick, Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Moving on to item F, high school early graduates. Need a motion, please?
Motion to approve early graduate.
Second.
Any discussion, questions?
Yeah, I'd like more information going forward on these, just as far as, it'd be nice to know like juniors, seniors, kind of what they are.
Mhm.
I'm assuming we don't have any freshmen or sophomores this year. Nothing.
Not that I'm aware of.
Mhm.
So grade, what other things would you, can I pass on to Steve?
I don't know, because I don't know. I guess because of last year, I'd just like to see maybe a little bit more, just as far as like what they've, like how many credits they have, what year they are.
Mhm.
I mean, that kind of thing, just kind of what's showing us kind of what path they've taken. 'Cause
I
I'm
think
not-
they're, not to interrupt Tom, but I think the number of credits earned would be nice to see. Know that they met our required number.
So when they have to, sounds like a silly question, but when they have to meet our requirements.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's
In-
in the
just
thing
as
up, it
been-
says by the time that second or first semester is over, they will have met. But if you'd like to see where they are now, that's something that
Yeah,
we can
maybe
pass on
it's
to the high
kind of
school.
nice to-
Well, would they have
Transparency.
more than enough credits? I mean, that might be something to celebrate. So if we had that
Mhm.
on there.
Sure.
Yep. Thank you, Whitney.
I usually ask the question every time this comes up every year is, have they met the requirements or will they meet the requirements? And I ask that every year. So just as an FYI, it's something that we make sure of before, we approve or that they're on their way regardless. Any other questions?
Would some of these be early for like military service too and stuff? I guess that'd be nice to know if you're gonna add those things in there for.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, just
Yeah.
the more information we get, the better, because it's kind of a celebratory thing for them too.
Yeah, like
We
what you
don't get to
said,
send them
celebrate
off.
them.
Yeah, we don't get to send them off either.
Any other comments?
This might be a little bit off subject, but you said we don't get to send them off. Is there a mid-year mini graduation or anything, or do we just
No, they
graduate them and then they can walk in the?
come back
in the
and walk
spring?
in the spring.
Okay. And then during that time, do we announce them as early graduates?
Just through this process.
Okay.
Any other comments? Karen?
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes. Moving on to item G, 24 high school program of studies. Need a motion?
I'll move that we approve the 2023-24 registration guide as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Karen?
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Okay. Item H, SBRC modified allowable growth, limited English proficiency. Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. Both this item and the next item are related to the certified enrollment. Now that certified enrollment is complete, these numbers are again modified allowable growth for this year, for the students this year, which we don't receive funding until next year for. So this gives us the authority to spend money on those kids this year. For the, which one will be on LAP? LAP is $110,000 about, for next year's budget, it's about 5 cents per thousand on the tax rate to get that money back for those kids this year. And in the next item, about 1.4 million, that is about 61 cents on the tax rate to get that money back.
Any other questions? Thank you. Karen?
Tom,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Very good. Item I, SBRC modified allowable growth, increased enrollment. We need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Karen?
Brett,
Yes.
Whitney,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bridget,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
All right, moving on to topics for discussion. Superintendent report.
Good evening. Lots of good news to share tonight. Since our last meeting, we did have the Spring Creek building visit, which was a very positive morning. 4 Mile is going to sneak up on us quickly. It'll be Tuesday, the 29th, right after Thanksgiving. So that's our next building. I wanted to just give a shout out to all of the Veterans Day ceremonies that happened last week. There was the big one at Prairie Meadows. Several buildings, most buildings had a building event. I even heard we had a building send students out to sing to veterans as well. Willowbrook? Yep. So awesome. In fact, last night in a meeting, we bragged about that with some other districts. So just wanted to share that. Fall activities are wrapping up and there's all kinds of things. And if I miss something, it's not on purpose and I apologize ahead of time here. Our all-state musicians are today and tomorrow practicing and then performing in Ames. It's elementary music program season. Since our last meeting, our cheer team was 3-time state champs and Marcy Cassie received the Distinguished Service Award. State cross country, both our boys and girls teams competed. Girls coach Chad Williford received the Golden Plaque of Distinction, which is one of the highest honors in that sport. Our girls state swimmers had their best finish since 2016. We talked about boys golf before, but I'd say again, they had a top 10 finish and a top 3 individual. And I think a highlight of all of this is we've had numerous academic all-state performers across several of those different activities. I think that's something we definitely want to highlight. And then there's this little thing tomorrow that people are talking about. 7:30, the state championship football game in the Dome. Be there and be loud.
And we're
So-
black.
A Little Mermaid last week, another successful production. I anticipate, that's kind of a tradition of state award winning musicals that we've got. I can't imagine this won't be in that same vein. So, and then we've got also right after Thanksgiving, career planning night. This year, the Altoona Chamber has partnered with us. So we'll have more local business and industry involved in this. And that's also Tuesday, the 29th, that evening after Thanksgiving, where we'll have lots of different members of the trades there for kids that are looking for those kind of careers, apprenticeships, things like that. And I just want to make sure we talk about that because that's going to be expanding here as to how we've done it in the past. So that's a lot. Again, you can see meetings and things like that. Happy to answer questions.
And we had fun at the elementaries and the junior highs, I think today, serving Thanksgiving lunch, celebrating all of our nutrition staff, right?
Right. Open the certified enrollment PDF. Next.
Yeah. I'm letting. Sure, for honor.
We'll jump right into certified enrollment update. It's on the screen and you've got it as well. There's a couple of things to just highlight there now that the process is complete. That the top blue arrow there is pointing to actual enrollment, what used to be called line 7 back when this wasn't online and it was actually something we typed in. But you can see our current enrollment, certified enrollment is 7,210.96 students. That's an increase of 186.84 from a year ago. So we knew we had more students coming and this definitely showed up in the certified enrollment. The lower blue arrow are the students that we're providing instruction for, 7,152.76. And then down below, it's just a 10-year history. And you can see 186 is a healthy number. We've been higher than that. We've been in the 200s. If you look about with 2013, we were at 217. And if you go back a few years before that, we had several years of growth in the 200s in a row there. So it's not unheard of. Still manageable growth, which is a good thing and good news. Kind of related to that is the other sheet that I shared with you, and that's the open enrollment breakdown. And this is not a surprise that we have more students open enrolled out than coming in because we said no from 6th grade on up, kindergarten starting in August, and several other grade levels in specific buildings depending on the scenario and the number of students there. So that's something that we expected due to the fact that we knew we had those 200-ish students joining us that were our residents on top of that. So just wanted to share those numbers with the board. Happy to take any questions. Remember the importance of line 7, the actual enrollment. That's what our budget is based on next year.
So this might, I hate to ask this question because I know there's an answer that I just don't see. But we have an actual enrollment number that's higher than the total provided instruction for. What is that difference?
The open enrolled
We're open
out
enrolled out,
students.
but we
Yep.
still count them as our
The actual
students.
enrollments, those are all students that are residents of the Southeast Polk district.
Okay,
Yep. And you can see it's about 60-ish.
yep.
Any other,
That's a good question.
Thank you.
any other questions? Okay,
Right. Thank you.
moving on to monthly financials. Mr. Rickham,
I think this is why the crowd is here tonight.
yes,
This
you're
is your,
here to hear your words.
This is your first monthly financial report, and this is through the first quarter, September. Get a little more detailed in this report for you. The general fund revenues are up 23.5% through the month or through the quarter. Just to remind you, supplemental state aid for this year was set at 2.5%. As Dr. Lupnick showed, the enrollment growth was 113 students, or about 1.64%. So all that contributes to our increase in the revenue side. Although although property tax assessments are up 8% because of how the state foundation aid formula works, our general fund property tax revenues would be about the same as they were last year. What else? COVID reimbursement. You'll see there's a big chunk of COVID reimbursement in the amount of $787,000 in the other federal revenues line. That should have been last year. So we need to make the correction to that. So without that, revenues actually only went up 10.4%, but up regardless. Title I want to talk about a little bit. Title I, we got late, great information late here this year for Title I. We were expecting a little over $550,000 this year, but we're actually getting about $850,000. So we're doing some work with the state to kind of work those numbers through and perhaps get a little bit more Title I funds to schools that are out there for Title I needs. Transportation equity. This is our district cost per student transportation was higher than the state average. So we got a little bit more money this year. This year, we're going to get $300,000. Last year, we only got $90,000. Good and bad, we're getting money for that, but it cost us more to transport those kids last year. And then another big change, difference between last year and this year, our break fix insurance last summer was pretty extensive relative to what it was this summer. I think we had a lot of Chromebook technology type issues last year, which we got reimbursements for. So all good with that with Mr. Chris Technology Department getting those things ready and sent up. Expenditures up 11.9%. This jumped at me right away when I pulled this number. I thought, what the heck is going on? Simple explanation is that we had 3 pays through September this year versus only 2 pays in September last year. So that kind of bumps it up. So we'll see that average out next month's report through October, as there were 3 pays in October last year and 2 this year. So that is the general fund in a quick summary. I'm going to move to all funds unless you have questions about the general fund.
One question, you said the title funds.
Correct.
We were expecting 500, you have 800. You're working with the state. You're working with the state to disperse those funds within our district or outside of our district?
Within the district.
Okay.
Right now, we
Just to
have,
clarify.
yeah, we have some identified schools that are already Title I. We're looking to possibly add another school this year, but it's all, the timing of this isn't great, right? It's because we are already in the process of school, et cetera. But we are, Dr. Latham is trying to find those supports for those schools and push forward with using those funds. We don't want to return any of that money back.
No, nothing left on the table.
Correct.
Very good. Okay, that's my only question. Do you guys have any other questions for that first part?
All funds, similarly, revenues up 25%. Again, that COVID shouldn't be there. Interesting thing about food service, we didn't have it posted yet because there's some delays on the state side. Something called direct cert. We use the Department of Education and the Department of Human Services do direct certifications for families. For example, if my family is receiving what is known as the food stamps, my family would be waived for those costs for those meals. That has been a kind of a 2-month delay between those two departments. So we get delayed information. We'll have the September information, October information by the time I give you the next report through September. So October's report will have September's information. It's a little bit delayed right now for that. So you'll see that next year. Another big thing within the all funds, the statewide penny tax money, the save dollars we have, the funding and distribution to schools is a little bit different this year. Last year and years previous, they would take what we thought we'd get as far as school district, take 95% of that and give that to us equally throughout the months, and then we'd have a reconciliation payment in November. They're now doing this based on actual sales tax, but it's 2 months in arrears. So the monies that are received in July are being received in September, August being received in October, and so on and so forth. So we're going to see actual numbers come through in just a 2-month delay in those revenues, which is a big difference in what we had in the past. That means more money for us on hand to be able to pay for projects rather than waiting for November next year reconciliation payment. The other piece of this I wanted to mention, because there's a board member that was pretty integral with this, was the receiving of funds for the Reynolds Playground. With some of that Polk County money came through there and other funds that we threw in Pebble to get that Reynolds Playground in place. Expenditures, 5.9% increase. The business function classroom technology project last year, that's gone past. So now no technology project this year. Transportation, school buses, just the delivery of buses continue to be delayed. So when we get them, that's when we record those expenses. That's just the nature of how we do the accounting of that. But capital projects, we have all the projects that you know of as far as the multi-purpose stadium, the 6-7 building, and the softball complex. We also have in the works the buildings and grounds warehouse and the expansion of the bus parking lot and the beginnings of a rework of a new district administration building. So those costs will continue to grow in the facilities acquisition functions. Any questions?
Revenue regarding the penny fund, is that projected to be less than or more than predicted?
Currently, it's more than last year, but
Forecasted
in your
less than.
markets, yeah, you know what's going on with the market as far as what's happening with those, but it is what it is, and now it's based on actual, so whatever that case may be is what we're gonna get.
So we'll just be 2 months in the rears
Correct.
and until they change that.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
School improvement discussion. Yay, the best part of the evening. No offense, no offense.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna move the chairs about 10 here in the center circle. Slide those up. Okay, that's first.
Go back to. That's kind of not saying anything.
Going alphabetical order this time? True alphabetical.
Well, no.
Online, not for us, online.
My first question is, where's Karen?
In your office.
Down the hall.
Oh,
She's
okay.
always here.
She's
everywhere.
I found myself.
She's like mom. She's always watching. So act good, even though mom's not. around.
Oh, well, Amy
Well, Lauren,
Robbins.
here, 1 second. I'm just gonna start just to kind of clarify the process. Sorry, we gave you the mic and yeah. So good evening, board, and we are excited to have this opportunity for the schools to share their story and share information about the improvement plans. We will go through the plans in almost alphabetical order. We'll hear from elementary first, and then we have one secondary school here this evening. We have, let's see if I can get this right, Centennial, Clay, Mitchellville, Willowbrook, and the junior high. And they are here this evening, principals and coaches to share the story of their plans. As last time, we're going to have each of them give a brief summary of their plan. We'll hear from all of the schools, and then we can start our dialogue back and forth to learn more about the plans. So I will turn it over to Centennial, Lori Waddell, and you can get us started.
Okay, Lori Waddell from Centennial, and then Amy Robbins, our instructional coaches here. We were asked to do a brief summary this year, so I'm following the rules because I didn't last year. Anyway, you guys can read the slide that we gave you with our demographics and those kind of things and our celebrations. I wanted to explain a little bit about our goals. We have one major goal, and that's to shore up our MTSS process to encompass the whole child. So we're really working hard on our process to include that social emotional piece. And the reason behind that is because, you know, when you're looking at some academic data, reading or math, and you think somebody's struggling, there might be a whole lot more to that kid's story than just maybe struggling in reading. There might be things at home, all sorts of things. So we want all the players at the table each time when we're talking about a suspected disability or, you know, somebody that's kind of fallen out academically, because sometimes it might not have anything to do with their skill level. It might have to do with the support they need. And just feeling safe, those kind of things. So that encompasses our reading, our math, our social emotional, or our cultural goal. So that's what you see down there, it's mostly all of that, but it's a big, huge project that's going to take us longer than 1 year, and it will always be changing, forever changing as the kids are. Other than that, I think one of the excited things that we are is that Kevin brought up the title money, and that might be us. Because we moved up like to 36%, and that's nothing to celebrate, but we would actually get some extra support that we've never had before, and I know we would put them to great use. Do you have anything to add?
Our book study that is on there is really supporting our goal.
Yes, it follows right along with that. So that came from the PLC conference. So thank you again for supporting us going. And we would like to go again as soon as they open that back up because we learned so much. That's a plug. Oh, did it just open? Woohoo. Clay.
All right. Thank you, Centennial. And now we will move to Clay.
All right. Hi. I'm Andrea Bruns, and I am the newest member of the team. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to be part of the district. It's been a great year and just really exciting time to be in Southeast Polk and with everything that we're doing here. So thank you for allowing me to be here. We've got lots of celebrations this year. We've been dedicating our time a lot to going back and thinking about our literacy work. Being such a big building, we've got a lot of students, and what we're seeing is that after Carrie did some literacy work with the district and some of the professional development opportunities that she provided to teachers, we quickly realized that we weren't all speaking the same literacy language. And so we've kind of adopted that work that Carrie has been working with other teachers in the district. So we've been working really closely with Carrie. We've really just dedicated our time to going back our preschool teachers all the way through our 5th grade teachers. And we're spending a lot of time just going back, ensuring we're all speaking the same language when it comes to literacy. We're all have the same understanding of vocabulary and what things mean, shoring up our all of those literacy routines in response to our data and being able to provide diagnostics and really digging into the appropriate information that we need and finding where our students really are and being able to provide those interventions and whole group instructional pieces that we need. So we are dedicating ourselves to an hour-long PLC every week with each PLC, and Carrie's joining us with that too, and really using that as a data conversation so that we can continue to weekly analyze everything that we're doing, celebrate often. It's been really fun. Our teachers have gone from the beginning of the year to not always finding things to celebrate to now wanting to be the very first one to celebrate because they're seeing that their hard work is paying off and all the time that they're investing in ensuring they're following those explicit and systemic routines. It's just been really fun to see them grow. So we have dedicated ourselves as staff this year and really adopting the all means all. And so in order for us to reach our goal of 100% of all of our students meeting benchmarks, we have to continue to learn together and grow together and speak that same language. And so we're just really working really hard on that. So it's been really exciting.
Thank you. And now we will go to Mitchellville. It's like the little V-bucks that go on the map.
I think the brief summary should be called the Mitchellville rule because I think it's because of Stephen and I. Very possible. Like he's probably windier than I am even, and that's saying something. So I'm going to do what Lori did. I'm going to skip a few things. The demographics are there. Take a look. We've kind of toggled between 240 and 239 students this year. I am going to hit a few of our celebrations because we've got a couple of things that have been really fun this year. We started a promoter program with Mitchellville is one of 2 elementary schools in the state of Iowa that has a Best Buddies program. We don't serve it the same way the high school does, but we are a promoter school. And what's been really cool about that is there's a theme each month. And so I take this middle school curriculum and I turn it into a K-5 lesson and I teach it to our 3rd through 5th grade students. And then they go in and teach it to our K-2 students. And then anytime Coach Stiles has anything going on at the high school, she includes us. So that's been a ton of fun this year. So that's something new. We continue to score well on the Iowa School Performance Profile. We still have some goals and some things that we have identified that we're going to work on going throughout this year. And then if you look, we included some spring data, which makes a lot more sense than the fall data because it just shows the growth from where we started in the fall to where we finish in the spring. And then a couple of new things for us this year that we included was like our MRA data. 93% of our staff feel fulfillment in their work. And then 99% of our students feel cared for by a teacher. I'm going to let Mr. O share one from the Gallup survey and then have him talk a little bit about our goals, strategies, and actions.
So we were able to take our Gallup survey here most recently, and it's similar to our MRA, which is a form of results from our Leader in Me program. But the Gallup poll was asking teachers if they felt engaged in meaningful work through a shared vision, and 97% of our staff felt that way. And that was in comparison to the national average of 21%. So just that unified feeling, collectively, we're moving together in the same role, and we're understanding the passion that goes in for our work, and that's being expressed kind of together as a family unit, which is a sign of our culture that is working in the right direction. Some of our goals, kind of to piggyback off of Clay, we've been doing a lot of focus in our fluency aspect. So we're trying to move our 73% of proficient kids from this fall to 85% this spring. And through that, we've had carry out quite a bit already to do some professional learning. And that's been in whole group capacity, but then she's also reached out to just individual teams to work more closely with them. And we've also had a few other teachers take some courses to set time aside to train us as well within the building. So we'll continue to focus on the implementation strategies that work, that are proven from our 4-box sort, or also just from what we are learning currently this year too. Public speaking through our MRA was a big focus for our kids. It was kind of one of those glaring numbers that you're like, okay, we've got to work on that. And they registered at 48%. We want to move them to 90. And our Best Buddies program that we have implemented is going to do just that. They're having opportunities monthly to learn how to have conversations with one another, continue that when our kindergarten through 2nd grade friends don't really know how to continue that. So it's really fun to watch them interact with one another through that. And then just having those opportunities in class also for meaningful work and presentations through Ramsway assemblies we've had here recently as well. And then another additional goal would be our 1,200 Rams Achievement Awards, Kindness Awards, Jungle Tiger Awards. We created those based on Trevor Reagan's learning that we took in, and are really trying to promote that risk-taking, that encouraging to step outside of your comfort zone, to reframe situations. But we're really trying to affirm what we would like to see valued in our schools. So, and that is kindness, that is hard work, that's effort. And we're doing that each morning after dancing.
And now we will hear from Willowbrook.
Mike tried to take my turn here. I had to shut him down. I'm going to skip right down to celebrations. And I'm going to add the new celebration. You guys talked about it a little bit earlier. Our 5th graders were out at Hy-Vee over there on Veterans Day. The reason our building gets to do stuff like that is because of the amazing people that work in our building. If you haven't met the Olsen twins, as we call them, they're actually a married couple, so they're not really twins. They are an emblem of the lifeblood of what makes Willowbrook. It's dedicated teachers that go out and go beyond just the X's and O's of students in front of them. It's outside of there. We have people that come in and plant things around our campus, paint things on their weekends, come in and make our school a special place for the kids and reach out to those families outside of the school. So that's just a huge celebration for us, because we're a school that's growing, and we grow because we look at kids more than just their numbers. We do pay special attention to those numbers because we want those numbers to grow. We're spending a lot of time on our literacy work this year. We started that work last year. Carrie's a name you will hear over and over again, because Carrie is amazing at helping people see that big picture, helping break that big picture down into small manageable steps, and helping implement those steps. And she's been working with us since last year to help people understand what those steps are. And this year we've been taking a lot of time to instigate and make those steps part of our process as we go along. Last year we spent a lot of time learning what it was going to look like. This year it's actually in action. And as a school that is targeted for one area, it makes it so much easier when we've already got the processes in place to say, how are we going to attack that targeted area in order to help all those kids across the way. When we look at our climate and culture goals, once again, we work within the building, but we also work with outside of that building to create those opportunities for students, that those 5th graders got not only did those fifth graders go to Hy-Vee, every student in our school made placemats, made cards for the veterans, and they understood why they were doing that and why that's important. That it's not just from 8:30 to 3:30 thing, that this learning and this culture is something that we're just proud of at Willowbrook. So I could go through each of the individual numbers, but you can see those there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Willowbrook. And we will close up the summary with junior high and Mr. Daly.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and jump to our celebrations real quick, and just looking at those, our percent proficiency was looked good compared to peers, the state average. We obviously always want to see those improve, but the percent proficiency at each grade level, we're pretty happy in ELA and math. In science, our kids continue to grow. At the junior high level, it's band, just like in everybody. So it's a 6, 7, 8 band, and the kids take the science test in 8th grade. And our students have grown from 64% proficient to 69% proficient. And it's just been a steady path of what our kids have been growing over time. So that's good to see as our kids move forward in science. This is our 3rd year taking science. So it's want to continue to see that growth. The last kind of celebration I had down there, we do have checkpoints that we do, and I'll kind of talk about that here in our goals in a minute. But one of the things that we're celebrating already through the first quarter, our kids are already showing growth and great potential as we move through our checkpoints this year, whether it be our A reading, our math probes, even our climate and culture survey. So we're pretty excited about that. That being said, I'll just jump to our goals real quick. Same as elementary, we go through the A reading process and are able to track our students. We're really pleased with our numbers as the kids reported back to us in August, September, and our kids continue to show the growth. But we're also identifying kids that need help and getting them into that reading support. And so that's a piece that we've been able to put in for our kids. Another thing we've been able to do, Ms. Huckbar, who's our media specialist, has developed a reading flex class. So kids who really enjoy reading, they get a chance to sign up for this. They can come into the media center and work with her, as well as Crystal Sire, who's an instructional coach, once a week, so they can talk about things that they're reading together as a group. So it's kind of a fun piece that we've been able to add just because teachers wanted to add it. Our math, our kids have been, I don't want to jinx this, but I'm going to bring this up anyway. Our kids just last week took a math probe at the 7th grade level, and they scored as high as any other group has scored ever on a probe. And we're only on probe 5. So that's, we're definitely heading in the right direction, and our teachers are doing some great things for their kids, and our kids are reacting to it. So it's great to see. When I said that, I'd talk a little bit, we have checkpoints where kids will either do probes or we track their standard performance just like everybody. But it's nice to have those checkpoints. So when we get to that ISAS test in April, there's no surprises. And so that's what we're doing with our math, our literacy, and our science. We have checkpoints where we track the standards, how kids are performing, how that data looks. We're using our Mastery Connect so we can track that data. It's easy for people to see. And so we can examine that data. So probes, standards, then leads us to ISAS. We should know what our kids are going to do before we ever get there. Not that we never get surprised, but hopefully we're going to get a good surprise this year. The last thing that when we were talking about that, the climate and culture goal at the junior high this year, that was one of the things that stuck out to us. We do these checks throughout the year except for environment. And then when we would get to the conditions for learning, sometimes it was surprised with the way our kids would answer. So this year we've actually added some checkpoints, and we can just do some quick dipstick checks of how our kids feel, how the environment's going, how's the learning environment going for them. We did our first one in September. We just finished our last one last Friday. And so we're seeing some positive things, but the best thing about it is there's some names that are popping up, maybe 100 kids that they just want to be checked in on, or nobody's really talked to me in a week, or something along those lines where we can have a teacher or a counselor or somebody check in with those kids. So we're really reaching out, trying to make those connections for kids, even if they're in a building of 1,100 people, they're still kids, and we want them to feel welcome there. So that's the junior high.
Right. Well, thank you to the buildings. As they have shared, there is much to celebrate, and you can hear from each of them. We're always working to improve. So it's great to hear those stories. I will now open it up to the board for any questions. And as we did last time, you can direct them to a school, or you can ask in general, and people can share their responses, and I will turn it over to you.
Questions, comments, you guys?
So I wanted to start off with Willowbrook. I was at Hy-Vee when the students came. And first of all, we didn't know that you were coming. So it was a really cool surprise to just see a school bus come up and like all the, we had no idea why you were there. And so when they came in with their American flags and started lining up, it was a really fun experience. And then the Legionnaires, we made sure that we took a picture with the students afterwards. So we did our Legion picture and they're like, oh, let's have some kids. And then we brought all the kids up and all the teachers because, you know, it's a really nice experience to have the students involved too. And last year and this, I don't know if you did the placemats last year as well, but. Okay, well, I mean, it's really fun to just read the cards. When we get there, the cards are just laying out and the placemats are laying out. And it's just neat to just go around and look at all the cards. I don't think, I didn't take any home because by the time I had the opportunity to grab my stuff, they were all gone. So, and to see some veterans who have been around for quite some time, not picking on my older veterans, they loved it. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just knowing Willowbrook it's my neighborhood school. That's where my son went, and to just hear about all the things that you guys are doing is a good thing. So thank you for that. And Mitchellville, you guys, I love the fact that you guys dance, and I like the spirit and energy that you guys have. I've always been impressed with how you guys interact with your students so well. And to see that you are ranked so highly among other elementary schools is very interesting. Because Mitchellville is kind of out there on its own, you know, and so this little island school is doing like these really like big things. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. That's very cool. And welcome to the team. And Centennial, I don't know, you guys you're just kind of a standard. You're the steady ones. So thank you for that and just keep that going. So.
I would just like to say thank you so much for sharing this information. I've just come off of 2 days of attending the IASB conference and exhausting, but invigorating at the same time experience. And listening to all of you tonight, it reaffirms what I've been spending the past 2 days affirming, is that it's about the kids and the amount of caring and the passion and the investments that we all make and the intentionality behind all that we do. You know, I think I'm tired, so I'm almost emotional about it because it's just so, I don't know, it's just really, I'm just really, really proud of all the work we're doing. And I, you know, couple of things that really stood out to me, that intentionality of checking in for the climate and culture. I think that I'm really, really happy to hear about that and like how, you know, maybe that can help move and that positive culture forward and identifying those kiddos who really need that just someone to notice them and care. And like we all know we care about each and every kid, but sometimes they need to know they need to have that affirmed. And I just hearing how much that Centennial has valued that book study and the professional development. I have heard from several schools and I've seen on social media how much like energy and excitement and value that's been gotten out of the professional development that you know, like conferences. And I think it's the same conference that everyone went to, and that like I've heard about that multiple times, and I'm just so happy that we're able to invest in that and that's been so impactful, because I know it's not just Centennial that's felt that impact, but everybody, you know, I've heard it at multiple schools. So and yeah, I just think great things are happening all around, and thank you guys.
I agree with Whitney and what Bridget have said, and I think we have the best administrators in any district in Iowa. And I thank you so much, and glad to hear you say, bring up the word social, emotional. It's such a big topic that all of our kids need, and the best buddies and all those things. And I agree with my colleague here, Bridget, that Dr. Latham, you got to send these people to that conference every time you can. That's going to be a quick approval, I think, up here. And I've learned tonight that we need at least 8 carries, maybe 11, maybe 11, I don't know, but it's just amazing. So kudos to all of you. We're lucky to have you. Thank you.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
Mine's short. Just want to thank you for taking your time out tonight to come share with us. It's always fun to hear what's going on. I truly enjoy the school visits, getting in there, just hearing what's new. I'm sad though that there was no props this year. So it's still in my mind of what you left an impact on me last time, and I was setting a high expectation.
Because we always use all these languages as terms in our school improvement plan, like structural literacy. So we wanted to show you and give you an experience with it.
No, and I mean props with the most heartfelt. That it was wonderful, and I'm just sad not to see them, but I figured I thought the others would step up this year is kind of what I was.
To be honest, last year we were told 3 minutes as well, and some individuals that were new were not told that other props.
Yeah, the Mitchellville rule is applied. I get it. I get it. We got time. Some people are older up here that need sleep. I can stay up all night and listen to you, but
Because you're retired.
yeah.
I have a compliment for you guys in the whole district, because we worked through the virtual assessment with the Homeland Security and the Department of Ed. I was one of the last ones, so mine didn't last very long because it's so uniform throughout the district. But he complimented us on all of the things that we have in place to keep kids safe. And he said it's not like that when he's talking, a lot of questions he asks and you go, oh, yes, we have that. Yes, we do that. Yep. And he was like, excellent. I mean, he was from Texas, the guy I had, but very impressed with the measures the district has taken, the investment that you put in to keep our kids safe, because it's a lot and you've done a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And not speaking out of turn, I don't think we're done. So,
No.
but I think,
No,
but that's good to hear. I
we
mean,
have
that's,
a lot that is in good place.
but a lot of that is because of what you guys do. We can only make decisions of saying, we'd like this. If you don't buy into it too, then
True. I mean,
it's
it's
not.
a group effort, but you should be proud of that
Yeah.
too, because I was.
We're supposed to be thanking you.
Here's the deal.
Not
We're all
that-
a team.
Not that you don't, not that I don't appreciate it, but
We are all a team.
it
and
is.
that's huge to remember.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I do enjoy, getting to hear the things that are going on. And I was able to spend some time with Mike today. He's not going to mention it, but we got to serve fluff today. Pumpkin pie fluff. And if there's anybody that I want to go out selling pumpkin pie fluff with, it's Mike. So, but no, thank you for coming and sharing, and for all the work you do for our students. And I told the last group too, that it's just, it doesn't go unseen that you don't make excuses for what's happening. You're always trying to improve what you're doing in the buildings. And so it's recognized, and keep up the good work.
Mhm. And I just made a few notes, so I won't carry on too long, but yes, I made note of the book study and helping to reach goals, and I think that's wonderful. With Clay, mainly, I want to tell you welcome. We're glad you're here and you're on our team, and our students can only benefit from you being here. I have to read through all my notes for each building. Mitchellville, 240. I like that number because I remember way back when it wasn't that number. I like the fact you guys are using Best Buddies as a program that you're making connections with the kids. And I like the public speaking goal from 48% to 90%, because that can only help each student in their future endeavors. So I think that's a great thing. And I'm really impressed with your 504 numbers too. I mean, how low those are. So that's very good. I'm just going through my pages here. Willowbrook. I got to spend today there, and the building looks great. And I don't know how those kids can't feel safe already, but I know you've got that goal to go from 27 to 42%. And I think that's a great goal. And I've been in that building since the building was built, so I love that building. And but I thought it looks wonderful, and you've got a great staff, and they're doing everything they can to help those kids and help the numbers as well and all of your goals. So let's see. I'm almost done, you guys. Sorry, I go through all the pages turning. And somebody else mentioned this, Mike, but student check-ins, I think 1,100 students. And I think even today when I was telling each of those kids happy Thanksgiving, or do you want a roll and some butter? I was trying to look them straight in the eye and make sure they knew that I was acknowledging them, because you can see some kids that nobody ever looks at them, and you can tell that. So I think that's a great goal, and I know your team can get that done. So accolades to all of you, and keep up the great work and keep pushing harder and harder and to get through the school year. Anybody?
I have one question, and I'm sorry, I circled this and I didn't go through my notes like you did, Lori. But while you were talking, I looked at the acronyms and it's not on here. So what is an SAM position? This is for Clay.
Yes, so it stands for School Administration Manager, and
Okay.
so it's a shared position between transportation and play.
Okay.
And so the purpose of the position is to support.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. So then I guess lastly, I'll say thank you to all of you. I know last year it was all, for me, it was more about climate and the culture period, right? Like welcoming these kids back, loving them, hanging on. You guys have kind of kept on to that. And it's nice to hear that we're still doing that, but at the same time now we're starting to wrap around and try to really grab a hold of them as far as educationally and get them going as far as the literacy and the math and all that. So I want to thank all you guys for kind of keeping that in mind, and just remind y'all that, yeah, you're the smiling face, and you're the first one they see in the morning, hopefully walking into that building, and to keep loving them up. But yeah, do a great job as far as what we're doing for them as far as education wise. So I guess I would have to say the same thing. I'm proud of all you guys for taking on, I think, what is a huge role right now, and giving those kids some stability and some love and some education in their life. So thank you all.
Well, I want to thank everyone. These evenings always give me a very warm feeling, and mostly, it is a team effort, and you just know how hard everyone is working to do best by the students here at Southeast Polk. I think, Brett, you had mentioned the idea of that continuous improvement. And as I listened to some of you this evening, it's also clear that the teachers are always improving and the teams to improve things for students, but they're also continuing their learning so that they can learn more to add to that improvement. And I think the teachers at Southeast Polk are very committed to ongoing learning, which leads to ongoing improvement for our students. And again, it's a village, everyone here working together, and we appreciate everyone's efforts. And thank you for coming this evening to share your stories.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I need a motion.
Motion to